Ever wonder how to break away from narcissistic family systems? My name is Dr. Erica Steele. I'm a board certified naturopathic doctor. I hold 6 degrees in my field, all in the natural healthcare space. Welcome to my channel. So, this month we are talking about families, family systems, and really what families deal with and trauma and family systems. And so, all this month, we do have a digital course that's on sale, Healing Trauma and Relationships. If you do invest in that course and invest in yourself, we also throw in building healthy relationships. So it's not just about dealing with the trauma that you've learned from the past, but also forwarding that and learning how to actually create healthy relationships. All right. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click the link below. Otherwise, we will discuss our topic. So, how to overcome these patterns, how to break free. So, first off, let me define what a narcissistic family system is in case you're not aware. So, a narcissistic family system is where one or more of the family members have a narcissistic personality disorder or narcissistic traits. And when we define that, we're defining it as someone who requires, it's almost like a vacuum. They require all of the attention, they require all of the focus, right? And so, this can happen in families that have addiction, addictive behaviors, families that have mental illness, families that have, just a really kind of troubled individual in the family where everyone's focus is constantly being drawn to that one person and that one person's behavior. Now, that person may or may not be aware that they have these traits. So it's important to realize that they can be unconscious to them, but there are some people who are conscious to them and they want that attention. They want people focused on them. They want, you to self-abandon. And that's the second characteristic is that your needs don't matter and you are continuously self-abandoning your own needs to be able to caretake, caregive, help, assist, whatnot, right? This particular family person. Now, also, too, that family member, and it could be one or more, that family member also uses triangulation, meaning that all of the other family members, like you'll see this with parents, right? So if you have a narcissistic parent and that parent has multiple children, they will pretty much triangulate the children around each other, meaning that they will maybe create a role of, let's say, there's the good one that, is infallible and does no wrong. And then there's the scapegoat that no matter what they do, they're not good enough. Or then there is, the baby who's treasured, etc. And so there's all these different roles that are assigned that are all unconscious. We're all playing roles in families, but in a narcissistic family structure, you're oftentimes pitted against each other in a manner that is unhealthy, unsafe, and lacks a lot of boundary and autonomy. So, in healing this, so we talk a little bit about those structures, but in healing this, it is about creating autonomy. It is about being self aware. And when we're talking about being self aware, we're being fully present to how we feel and how we think, right? We are being fully present to our behavior. And sometimes that can be challenging if the behavior is wildly unconscious, because typically when you're in these family systems, you're unaware that these family systems are actually unhealthy. It's just what you do, or it's, because this person has addiction, or because this person needs you, or especially if that person uses guilt and shame as a method of control. It's like, oh, well, so and so, can't help it. They have bipolar disorder, or they have, all of these different things. And I'm not saying that every person that has a diagnosis of bipolar necessarily suffers with narcissism, because narcissism is a very specific personality disorder that is clearly defined. However, that's just one example where it's like, oh, everybody has to drop who they are, what they're doing to be able to leave themselves to go and caretake for this one individual. And that's the agreement that the family has. And so part of reclaiming that, and even if it's not necessarily a defined, formally defined narcissistic family system, when you are being asked to self-abandon your own needs and your own desires and your own wants, and leave whatever it is that is makes you comfortable, then and go caretake to other people, that's when it's very unhealthy. And that's where I define it as more of a narcissistic family system, when you're being called to self-abandon and go run over and caretake. Um, Oftentimes, that individual is hyper independent, hyper aware. They fear intimacy, vulnerability, because in a lot of ways, that individual, they've been positioned and maneuvered around so much. Like, as a for instance, let's say if that particular individual, has an event coming up, and that family member who is the one who wants all the attention, they may create a situation where it prevents that person from going and pulls the rug out from under. I know for me in my childhood, I experienced a lot of that, where I would be excited, looking forward to things, and lots of rugs being pulled out from under me. So as an adult, it created a lot of fear around, is this too good to be true? Is this going to come through? And then real emotional pain and turmoil surrounding disappointment. So, how I've learned to overcome that is really sitting with myself, getting present with myself, and not being as fast. So, part of healing from these family systems is learning how to slow down, because a lot of times it's highly reactive and just go, 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 go. And you don't really want to stop and slow down and think about what's happening, or be fully present to what's happening, because then if you do that, you may say no. And so part of that self-awareness and part of that embodiment, is required. And when I say embodiment, I mean really getting into your body and feeling how it feels. Most people are in their head and they're psychoanalyzing everything, and they're into the psychology of it. And that's why, the term narcissism, has really, risen a lot over the last few years, because people are jumping online and learning about these different psychological disorders. And now it's like everybody's gaslighting and everybody's, a narcissist, and not really, right? And even though I use that kind of clickbait headline, there are certain narcissistic family systems where one or more individuals, it is literally the whole family has to focus on those one or two individuals. And if they don't, there are consequences to that, whether that is, with withholding of love, or, control, or, all kinds of different dynamics, that people have experienced. And unfortunately, they've shared with me, fortunately, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately simply because, it's a tragedy for me that people have experienced a lack of love in their life. I know for me, I've definitely experienced a lack of love in my life, growing up in a family system like this, feeling scapegoated, feeling like I could do no right, if you will, and always being the one, especially if you are kind of the quote unquote light worker or curse breaker, or you're the person who, stands for what's right. You're often going to be the target in the family system, because everybody wants it to be comfortable. Everybody wants it to be go with the flow. And so if you're the one going, wait a second, that doesn't seem right, then you're often the one that's targeted. There's withholds of love, there's shame, there's blame, there's guilt, there's all kinds of things that you as an adult have to work through. And so what's happened to you isn't obviously your responsibility. Many of you, I know watching, were victims in those experiences. However, your healing, your crossover into adulthood is your responsibility. It's no longer blame, shame, etc. It's, and we're not talking about, toxic positivity and rationalization where it's like, oh, they did the best they can. No, it's really about being with your inner child, really loving on them, really supporting them, and really allowing them to process through those emotions and make new decisions. And out of that, those new decisions come, new boundaries, come new awarenesses, come, new agreements that you set in your relationships. And so if you want to learn more about how to heal trauma that you've had in relationships, whether that's a family relationship, whether that's a coworker, whether that's a friend relationship, or even a partner, we touch on all of that in the course. Also, too, this month only in November, we are giving away the additional course, Building Healthy Relationships. So you get twofold, and they're both really chocked filled with journal assignments and exercises and all kinds of fun things. And so I'll be checking on you through the course. So wonderful. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And of course, like, share, and subscribe for more.